Really significant thing that would be different between OBS Studio and OBS, the original, is that every time I make a source in Studio, it's automatically a global source. What that means is, like, let's say we're looking at the pre-show, and I have decided I want to have a loading bar image. So I want to look for a GIF, create the loading bar image. Well, I can create new and I can go searching, or I can say add existing, and add existing shows me the global sources of that type, of the image type. And look, loading is one of the choices. So is the overlay, and so is the CC seal. Well, of the type CLR browser, I want to add a browser source. Well, look, I have existing ones, which include the chat and the social pop-ups. They are global sources. Or I can create new ones. I don't have a window capture, monitor capture right now. You know? I mean, I do, and I can turn it on, but it's set to something else entirely. It's like, it's set to some program because I was playing the game, yada yada yada. I'm not really, it shouldn't even be in here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Okay. But let's say I want to add window capture. Well, no, a display capture. Excuse me, that's what I'm thinking of. A display capture is one of those that, you know, does this number like the old program did. Well, when I move that around, it does all that craziness. Well, it's now a global source. If I go to a different scene and I right click and I say global sources under display capture, I don't have to add one. I didn't name that one anything special. It's already there. It's a global source. I don't have to make a new one. I don't have to change what its specifications are. It's already there because I've already made one. Okay, so I go at your pre-show now. It's still there. I don't want it. I get rid of it. Boom. That's one of the significant differences, is that all sources become global sources, and you only use them if you choose to when you go to that type. I don't have a display capture type anymore, so I have to create a new one. If I wanted to go to an image right now, there's already images. Seal, loading, and overlay are already here. They're already global. That's a significant difference. Another significant difference is the way the programs are set up. The other program had scenes, and it had sources, and it had audio, and it had buttons for, you know, settings and all that kind of stuff. But this one is different in the sense that you used to have to right click if you wanted to change the order of things. I wanted to change, you know, right click, order, move up, move down, move top, move to the bottom, whatever. I don't have to do that anymore. I click on pre-show and I say down, up. I can do the same thing with sources. Down or up, you know. The difference is sources has this icon. Well, the gear icon is the properties icon. Literally this loading right here. I click this and it shows me the properties of that particular graphic. What it's called, where it's at. Okay? Well, you'll notice that the audio has 3 channels instead of 2. It doesn't just have a mic now, and it doesn't just have the desktop audio now like it did. The reason it has 3 is because this ACE symbol matrix overlay right here is actually a video file. And if it had an audio track like a song playing, I would have a third control for that song. So you'd hear that song, anything else I'm streaming, and my voice all talking on 3 different channels. Now, there's a mixer where you can literally have stereo feeds, and you can downmix one channel to mono, fade it out completely. You can pan one of them to the left, one of them to the right, whatever. You can have all these tracks synced to offset at different times. In other words, like you could have track 1 start at 10 seconds, track 2 start at a minute, and so on. So this is it's a real simple window, but it's actually a pretty full-featured mixer if you know how to mix audio. It's pretty pretty much number controls over your volume, and the ability to pan. All this stuff is just really cool. I personally think it's really great that it has this. And then each channel has its own setting gear for filters and properties. Filters would be like, I can add audio filters like a noise gate, or I could turn up the gain on the audio channel so that it's a little stronger, or whatever the case may be. And there are just plain properties like, do I want timestamps on the sound card or whatever. Anyway, so you also have something new called scene transitions, and I've shown this off in other places where if you switch from scene to scene, you notice it's fading nice and slowly. Okay, I can make it cut, and literally it'll cut. Most of the time, this channel, this setting is set to 300 millisecond fade, so it's fading, but it's it's not like super duper slow, but it's also not cutting. It's kind of, there's a little bit of leeway there. Right now, I don't have it on a transition that requires properties, but it's there. There's a properties icon for making new fades, and there are others, like you can make swipes and slides, and you can make it fade to a specific color or whatever. The glaring difference between OBS and OBS Studio, one of the reasons you should get the Studio is because I've already mentioned OBS is no longer being upgraded. It's no longer being supported. They might release emergency updates for security loopholes, things like that. But they are spending all their time on OBS Studio now. When I got OBS Studio the first time, it was like 0.10 something. Now it's 0.14.2. That's only been a little bit of time. They've already upgraded that much. There's a whole bunch of different things in here, like you can set profiles and scenes. Right now I have it on Neo.J, but like, say I wanted to do a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel of political stuff, I could create a profile or a scene selection called political, and whenever I clicked on it from that menu, all the scenes and all the sources will be the political stuff that I use. Pretty cool. But the glaring difference between the two programs is Studio Mode. Studio Mode is literally the right-hand side is what your viewers would be seeing right now if you were streaming or recording. This is what they would see. And you can sit here and play around in this one. And whenever you're ready, you can transition. And when you hit transition, whatever's in the I've been playing around screen becomes what your users actually see. So I don't like that. I'm putting it back. And I hit the transition button after I place this right where I want it. And boom, your users see what you did. Now the reason for this would be like over here you got a reporter. It's got a thing over her shoulder that says coming up next, weather. Over here you're setting up the weather scene. Okay, you're saying to yourself, I want the weather scene here. I want the flash flood warning right here, and I want the temperature and the barometric pressure and all the, how much rainfall we've got and everything here, blah 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 blah. And as soon as you're ready, and this lady has gotten to the point where she says, and now for the weather, boom, you go to the weather map. And it literally changes the two scenes out. You want to go back to that reporter, hit transition again, back to the reporter. Really cool Studio Mode. You can make changes on the fly while you're talking to people. You can broadcast an actual show this way. That's one way it's done. So this is one of the glaring differences between OBS Studio and OBS, the original program. Again, they are not upgrading that old program anymore. All the new functionality is going towards OBS. They have set it up and rewritten it in such a way that anybody can write plugins and new transitions and all kinds of other cool stuff for it. So it's growing. It's allowing more third-party growth than what the original program did. And they're catching up very quickly with programs like XSplit, which is a pay program that does lots of cool things. But OBS, once you dive into it and you really start thinking about how do I show a particular source, and once you figure out how you build a particular source, then you start building scene ideas in your head. You'd be amazed what people can come up with just this simple program that's not very big. But anyway, that's one of the glaring differences between the programs. I may do further tutorials on the differences later, but that's the main thing you need to know. More tutorials coming. Thanks.